Walking through the baking aisle of a modern American supermarket is no longer a simple task of grabbing a bag of granulated cane. Today, the shelves are packed with products that look, pour, and taste like traditional sugar, but are actually complex chemical or plant-based alternatives. These brands use clever marketing, earthy color palettes, and buzzwords like natural or plant-based to convince you that you are buying a direct replacement for the sucrose found in your grandmother's kitchen. However, many of these sugars never saw a stalk of cane or a sugar beet. Quick favor before we move on. If you appreciate this content, consider giving this video a like and subscribing to the channel. Believe it or not, more than 92% of viewers haven't subscribed yet. It's free and only takes a second, but it means the world to us. So did you subscribe already? Great. Thank you so much for your support. Now back to the video. This breakdown explores the 9 most popular brands that have mastered the art of the sweet illusion. Splenda Original. Why number 1? Splenda is the undisputed king of the American sweetener market, but it contains zero actual sugar despite its famous slogan. The primary sweetening agent is sucralose, which is a disaccharide that has been chemically altered by replacing 3 hydrogen-oxygen groups with chlorine atoms. This process creates a substance that is about 600 times sweeter than table sugar, but cannot be broken down by the human body for energy. To make it pourable and measurable like real sugar, the brand bulks out the potent sucralose with maltodextrin and dextrose. This is where the deception lies. While the sucralose has no calories, the bulking agents are simple carbohydrates that can still impact blood sugar levels in large quantities. Splenda ranks first because it has successfully integrated into nearly every facet of the American diet, from coffee shops to home baking, while maintaining a flavor profile that is remarkably close to the real thing, even though it is a total laboratory creation. Truvia. Why number 2? Truvia is often marketed as the natural alternative to sugar, prominently featuring images of green leaves on its packaging. While it is derived from the stevia plant, the process of getting from a leaf to the white crystals in the bowl is highly industrial. The product is primarily composed of erythritol, a sugar alcohol produced by fermenting glucose with a specific type of yeast. The actual stevia component is Rebiana, a high-purity extract of the leaf that provides the intense sweetness. Many consumers believe they are buying crushed-up plants, but they are actually buying a carefully calibrated mixture of fermented corn byproducts and plant extracts. Truvia ranks second because it has successfully captured the wellness market by positioning itself as a clean alternative, yet most of its volume comes from an industrial fermentation vat rather than a sunny field. It provides the sweetness without the calories, but the natural imagery is a masterclass in brand positioning. Stevia in the raw. Why number 3? This brand utilizes the name of the stevia plant to imply a rustic, unrefined product, yet the white powder inside the packet is anything but raw. Like its competitors, stevia in the raw relies on a bulking agent to make the tiny amount of intense sweetener usable for the average person. In the case of the paper packets, that agent is dextrose. In the baker's bags, it is maltodextrin. These are highly processed starches that provide the crunch and volume of sugar. The actual sweetness comes from stevia leaf extract, which is processed through a multi-stage water extraction and purification method. It ranks third because it plays heavily on the "in the raw" branding that consumers associate with unrefined turbinado sugar, creating a psychological bridge to health that isn't entirely accurate. While it is an effective tool for calorie reduction, it is an engineered food product that bears no resemblance to the green, leafy plant from which it takes its name. Swerve Sweetener. Why number 4? Swerve has gained a massive following in the keto and low-carb communities because it claims to be a cup-for-cup sugar replacement that browns and caramelizes. However, Swerve is not sugar. It is a proprietary blend of erythritol, oligosaccharides, and natural flavors. The oligosaccharides are sweet carbohydrates sourced from select fruits and starchy root vegetables, which act as a prebiotic fiber. While this blend is more sophisticated than simple sucralose, it still relies on the cooling sensation and digestive profile of sugar alcohols. It ranks in the middle of the pack because it is one of the more honest alternatives in terms of its performance in baking, but it still requires a laboratory to assemble. Many people find that Swerve can cause digestive upset if consumed in large quantities, a common side effect of the fibers and alcohols used to mimic the physical properties of real granulated cane sugar. Monk fruit in the raw. Why number 5? Monk fruit is the latest darling of the sweetener world, often touted as an ancient remedy from the East. The brand uses the exotic luohangua fruit to suggest a mystical, holistic origin. In reality, the fruit is processed into a powder where the magrosides, the sweet compounds, are concentrated. Because these compounds are 200 times sweeter than sugar, the brand must once again use maltodextrin as a filler to ensure you don't accidentally oversweeten your food. This means that by volume, the product is mostly processed cornstarch. It sits at number 5 because it represents the exoticism trend in marketing, where a brand uses an unfamiliar fruit to distract from the fact that the product is a standard industrial sweetener blend. It is a highly effective sugar substitute, but the raw and fruit-based claims are stretched thin by the industrial processing required to make it shelf-stable. Equal Original. Why number 6? Equal is one of the oldest players in the game, and its blue packets are a staple of diners across the country. The active ingredient is aspartame, a combination of 2 amino acids, aspartic acid and phenylalanine. While these occur naturally in protein-rich foods, the version in Equal is a synthetic dipeptide discovered by accident in a pharmaceutical lab. Aspartame is notoriously sensitive to heat, meaning it loses its sweetness when baked, making it a fake sugar that fails the primary test of a true sugar replacement. It ranks lower because it lacks the versatility of the newer alternatives and has a distinct chemical aftertaste that most modern brands have worked hard to eliminate. It is a utility sweetener for cold beverages, but it makes no effort to mimic the physical properties or culinary uses of real sugar beyond basic sweetness, standing as a relic of the early era of chemical food substitutes. Sweet and Low. Why number 7? Encased in the famous pink packet, Sweet and Low is the original rebel of the sweetener aisle. Its primary ingredient is saccharin, a coal tar derivative discovered in the late 19th century. Saccharin is up to 700 times sweeter than sugar, but has a notoriously bitter, metallic aftertaste that the brand attempts to mask with cream of tartar and dextrose. For decades, it carried a warning label regarding its health effects, which was eventually removed, but the brand still struggles with its image as an old-world chemical. It ranks 7th because it is the furthest thing from real on the entire list. It is a purely synthetic substance that has no biological equivalent in nature. While it remains popular for its low cost and heat stability, it represents the absolute peak of the industrialization of taste, where a byproduct of chemical manufacturing is sold as a pantry staple. Lakanto Monk Fruit Sweetener. Why number 8? Lakanto is often seen as a premium, higher-tier version of monk fruit, frequently found in health food stores. It differentiates itself by using non-GMO erythritol and a specific ratio of monk fruit extract. While it is widely praised for having a better flavor profile than in the raw versions, it is still an industrial blend that relies on sugar alcohols for 99% of its volume. The classic version is white, while the golden version is meant to mimic brown sugar by adding slight amounts of plant-based extracts for color and flavor. It ranks low on this list because of the health halo it creates. It is priced significantly higher than other brands, leading consumers to believe it is a whole food product. In reality, it is a refined mixture that comes out of a factory, and the golden variety is a clever imitation of molasses-rich sugar created through clever food styling rather than traditional refining. Pure Via. Why number 9? Pure Via is a joint venture between major global corporations designed to compete directly with Truvia. It uses a high-purity stevia extract combined with dextrose and natural flavors. It sits at the bottom of the list because it is the quintessential copycat brand that offers very little transparency about its sourcing or processing. Like many others, It uses the green leaf imagery to imply it is a minimally processed plant product, but it is a standard white powder created through industrial solvent extraction. It represents the commoditization of sweeteners, where the goal is to produce the cheapest possible sweet hit using any available bulking agent and chemical extract. When you buy Pure Via, you are buying a product of corporate synergy that focuses on capturing market share through familiar branding rather than providing a unique or high-quality alternative to real, unrefined sugar.